Hey guys, Dave from Nerdarchy. For nerds by nerds, hang out with this nerd.
Nerdarchist Ted.
And in this video, you gotta catch them all as we do our Pokemon character build. Hey guys, jump down to the description below where you can find Nerdarchy, the newsletter, game weekly tips, as well as learn how to game with Nerdarchy.
Alright, so today we're talking the collector, but not of things, but of companions.
Basically, this is the Pokemon character build.
So the recent Unearthed Arcana came out, and the first thing that really sparked a lot of people's interest is the mechanical servant that they get at level 6. Now, previously we really didn't have much in the way of people talking about let's get all that I can get as far as creatures, but the mechanical servant lets you get a large size construct that's based off of a beast challenge two or less, and is pretty badass if you ask me.
Yeah, so you actually get access to some really cool stuff, but for the intents and purposes of our build, we're only going to go 6 levels. Whether you want to go gunsmith or alchemist doesn't actually matter. It just depends on whether you want more utility or more damage. So maybe we can talk about that a little bit more after we get through the actual getting the companions. So obviously next we want to go to ranger. You got to take the bulk of your levels in Ranger if you want to maximize your Ranger Beast companion, because it's going to improve as you do, and I'm fairly certain it's based off your Ranger levels and not your character levels. So this is going to be really important. And also we're going to use the revised Ranger in Unearthed Arcana because, well, it's way better.
It is indeed. So that's your first 9 levels figured out, and you can do it however you want. That'll get you your size large and your size medium creatures. So now we need to do a step down. We need to go for something that's small, and
small or tiny.
Small or tiny. And this is a concept based off of Victor, who talked about different ways to do this over in the NAG Facebook group.
Company of the NAG, in case you're looking.
Yeah, and he had said, I'll go with the Magic Initiate and grab Find Familiar as my first level spell. And you said there's a better way of doing it.
Yeah, the Find Familiar spell from Magic Initiate and going with Find Familiar is a waste of that feat. I mean, feats are rare in 5th edition, and they're powerful, and they really add another dimension to your character. To waste your first level spell on Find Familiar just seems like a throwaway to me. Sure, you're getting a couple cantrips, whoop-de-doo. But the better way, if that's what you want to do, you go Ritual Caster. A lot more diversity. The Find Familiar spell is a ritual. You're going to get 2 rituals in your book right away. One of them is Find Familiar, boom, covered, and then you can take something useful. Right. And when you combine that with your 6 levels of Artificer,
it makes for a really awesome combination because it already fits that I'm a magical gadgeteer concept anyway.
And you're also intelligence based as well. So if you go Ritualist Wizard, you're in like Flynn, and you get good synergy there. It's a good crossover.
I agree. So you could go with the Magic Initiate if you really wanted, but you're going to have that one spell slot that you almost never use. Ritual Caster, I think, is by far the winner there. But there are other ways to go ahead and grab a familiar without using a feat. Feats are precious. Some people would rather say, well, I'd rather use that for a stat bump, or I'd rather do this. So there's different classes that you can level dip into if you were to choose to go that direction.
1 level wizard, boom, done. You're going to get some more spell slots. You get you get a spell book with a couple spells in it. You're a ritual caster. You can ritual cast any first level wizard spell you can find. So that's not bad. Again, there's some issues with that because of some of the class features with the Artificer. That first level ritual spells that you're going to get, there's going to be some crossover with that Artificer, like I said, meaning they're not going to be useful from Wizard because you can kind of already do it.
Identify and detect magic are kind of a
Artificer class feature.
Artificer class feature, dear Lord.
Yes. So, but if you go Ritual Caster, then you're not limited. You as long as you're appropriate level, you can get those rituals and put them in your book. So that is kind of cool, and I believe Ritual Caster is also based off your character level as well.
It is.
So yeah, so you're going to get a lot more utility out of that. But there is another way. You're a pet collector.
Make a pact.
Yeah, exactly. You're a pet collector, but you don't want any old pets. You want really good pets. Your ranger pet's going to level up and get better. You've already got a cool mech, mini mech to play with. So where do we go from here? Well,
you go Warlock, and you can either go with Pact of the Tome and have a ye old basic one, or you do it real style and you go with Pact of the Chains, and you get yourself a sprite, an imp, a quasit, or a pseudo dragon.
Right. So now you're really kicking it. Now you're really kicking it Ash style with a Pokemon of all kinds of different flavors, and they can fit different niches and different roles for you, and it becomes more interesting. And we only really need 3 levels of Warlock. So now we've used 12 levels.
12.
Yeah, so I would say the other 8 levels are going to have to. I would put them into Ranger, unless you wanted to go. All Ranger. I mean, you could take one more level of Warlock, level 4, just for the feat or the stat bump, which wouldn't be a horrible idea, and then go the rest of the way with your Ranger. You just have to take a look and see what works out the best.
What's going to give you the most bang for your levels? Now, part of me looks at this and is like, all right, I want to play this character now. I totally imagine the mech, the mechanical servant, if you will, being, since it's large, that's my mount. I'm riding that shit into battle.
You actually have 2 options for riding, depending on your race.
That's true. If you wind up going with gnome or with halfling, you could ride the ranger companion.
Gnome makes a lot of sense for this character.
They are intelligence based.
They are intelligence based, and the thing is, right? If we go with 3 multi-classes, I think that's 4 13s you need, because I believe the ranger has 2 it requires. Mm-hmm. We're going to need a 13 charisma, no dump stat there,
yeah,
and we're going to need at least a 13 intelligence. Now
they actually don't have any of the multi-classing in here, do they?
No. I'm just going to go that you're an artificer. That intelligence is your primary, so you need at least a 13. Yeah, I couldn't imagine where else they might go.
Ranger needs Dex and Wisdom. Warlock needs Charisma.
So we're talking 4. About Dex, Intelligence, Wisdom, Charisma. Now, I would go Forest Gnome.
Okay.
If you're talking about, you want to maximize everything, they get a bonus to Dex and Intelligence. So that's going to be very helpful. You're going to want a high. You're going to, now, Tinker Gnome would be really, or the Rock Gnome would be really thematic. But you're going to want at least a character that's going to get a bonus to 2 of those 4 stats, because you're going to need them, and not only that, you're probably not going to want to dump you're going to want a decent con, and then you're probably going to end up having to dump strength just because you don't have a choice. Or we're going to do one of those builds where we get like 14s everywhere.
Well, and getting the 13s and 14s all over the place, we've done videos on that. So I got to throw something else in there. It's not very useful. But if we go with Urchin as our background, we get a pet mouse.
I love it. I love where you're going with there. That brings us up to 4 different things, 4 different animals. Eventually you find a druid to awaken your mouse. just because that's where you should go. So we have an Urchin, Forest Gnome, Ranger, Warlock, Artificer. But to finish it off, I think we should definitely go with Fey Pack for this character.
I think that works.
I think we're going to go with the Pack of the Chains.
Absolutely, yeah. And I'm thinking either Pseudo Dragon or Sprite.
Yes.
I like the Sprite, and a lot of people think, oh, they're too weak. I'm like, but they have some cool abilities. Now, David's character I've played around with in the campaign that I'm running, and he's got a Pseudo Dragon that he purchased. Now, as a non-jerk DM, I haven't done anything to actually harm any of the quote-unquote companions that he's acquired, but I know there's some DMs out there who are like, oh, that thing's got that's weak, or it's close to an area, I'm gonna fireball and just put it out of its misery.
I would absolutely be killing off some pets and some NPCs in Ted's campaign. It's all right, they can get more, or spend resources to bring them back. Heck, I had no qualms about taking out any little mushrooms, myconids in my campaign.
That's true.
So we have our background, we have our race, we have our classes.
So are we alchemists or are we gunsmith?
You know what? When I mixed it all together and combined things, I kind of feel like he's a gunsmith.
Well, he's going to be dex based, and I think that one fits well with.
Yeah, well, one of the really cool things about the gun or your boomstick from the Artificer is it's a ranged weapon. Yep. All the benefits you can get from using a ranged weapon you get with this. So yeah, you're going to use a hunter's mark with it. You're going to hunter's mark or hex with it. You can like alternate depending on what you need. You can also take the archery ranged fighting style.
Yes.
And then like if you're not taking stat bumps, sharpshooter, crossbow expert, like any of the range stuff is going to be beneficial to you. That being said, you're also a warlock, so you have Eldritch Blast. But that boomstick, you'd have to look at what it looks like at 6th level.
Right.
One of the I won't get into it. That's in our Artificer video. Which you guys will be able to check out. What do you guys think? What do you think of the Gotta Catch 'em all build? Let us know in the comments below while you're at it. Like, share, and subscribe.
Don't forget to check out all the awesome stuff over on nerdarchy.com.
So until next time,
stay nerdy.